That day, Maddie and her best friend were chatting by the lake, but suddenly, a piranha leapt out of the water. They were shocked to realize there were piranhas in the lake. Sensing the danger, the two of them immediately got up and left. Later that night, a couple came to the lake for a romantic date. Soon after, Sarah took off her clothes and jumped into the water. She had no idea that this was piranha territory. Suddenly, a piranha swam inside her body. Sarah thought it was just a prank by her boyfriend. Angry and upset, she got out of the water and stormed off. Meanwhile, another unsuspecting couple was making out in their car nearby. The man accidentally kicked the handbrake. Just as the two tried to escape, they realized the key to the handcuffs locking the man had gone missing. The water inside the car kept rising. With no other choice, the girl left her boyfriend behind and swam to save herself. All the piranhas were instantly drawn to the trapped man. Within moments, he was devoured, leaving behind nothing but bones. Meanwhile, back at home, Sarah started to feel extremely uncomfortable in her body, so she asked her boyfriend to be intimate with her. After her repeated requests, the boyfriend finally agreed with excitement, but just as things got heated between them, something unexpected happened. It seemed like there was something moving inside Sarah's stomach, but the boyfriend didn't notice anything unusual. Suddenly, the piranha inside her body clamped down hard on the man's groin. Sarah's entire body began to convulse uncontrollably. The man, overwhelmed by pain and panic, knocked over a nearby jar. In desperation, he grabbed a knife. Moments later, Sarah regained consciousness. To her surprise, she felt much better physically, but when she saw what the piranha was holding in its mouth on the floor, she finally realized it was the creature inside her that had caused all the chaos. The next day, determined to find out where the piranhas were coming from, Maddie set out with her police officer boyfriend Kyle and their friend Barry. They went to see Carl, a biologist who had been studying the piranhas. To their surprise, Carl had one of the creatures in a water tank. Its ferocity was beyond anything they had imagined. Carl then grabbed a thick steel plate and placed it in the middle of the tank. He took a live frog and placed it on the other side. Everyone thought it was ridiculous. Even the most aggressive piranha shouldn't be able to penetrate solid steel. But the moment the piranha sensed its prey, it became extremely agitated. It began slamming into the steel divider again and again. In just a matter of seconds, it had smashed a large hole right through the plate. As the creature was about to reach the frog, Barry, driven by compassion, reached in and pulled the frog to safety. He couldn't bear to watch such a brutal scene unfold. Carl then explained something even more shocking. These piranhas weren't modern-day creatures. They were an ancient species that should have gone extinct long ago. Worse yet, their reproduction rate was off the charts. Soon, they could take over the entire lake, and if they spread through drainage systems, they might even end up in private swimming pools, posing a serious threat to human safety. Upon hearing this, Maddie immediately realized the gravity of the situation. The water park connected directly to the lake, and it was scheduled to open the very next day. If Carl was right, they were all in big trouble. Realizing how urgent the situation was, Maddie and her friends rushed to the lakeshore. They planned to dive in and check if the drainage pipes had been damaged. Maddie put on her goggles, grabbed a flashlight, and slipped beneath the water's surface. After a careful inspection, she confirmed that the filter mesh was still intact. But just as she was about to return, a piranha suddenly appeared out of nowhere. The scent of blood quickly attracted a swarm of piranhas. On the shore, her boyfriend Kyle immediately sensed something was wrong. Without hesitation, He dove into the water to save her. Just before the piranhas could reach her, Kyle managed to pull Maddie safely back to land. Even after returning home, Maddie was visibly shaken. She just wanted to relax and calm her nerves with a hot bath. But she had no idea that a large school of piranhas had already made their way into the bathtub through the pipes. Luckily, it was just a nightmare, but the terrifying dream served as a wake-up call for Maddie. She knew she had to stop the water park from opening the next day, because if anything went wrong, the consequences would be unimaginable. But to her surprise, early the next morning, the water park was already packed with a huge crowd of visitors. Left with no choice, Maddie rushed to find her stepfather, Chet. She told him everything about the piranhas, but Chet didn't take her warning seriously. He had already invested a huge amount of money to ensure the park opened on schedule. Canceling the event now would mean a massive financial loss, and who was going to cover that? Ignoring her pleas, Chet went ahead and turned on the water pumps. Water began flowing steadily into the park's attractions. But what he didn't know was that a swarm of piranhas had also entered through the intake pipes. One particularly aggressive piranha even broke through the filter and made its way into the swimming pool. A young boy returned to the shore. He told his mother that something had bitten his calf. However, the woman didn't believe him. She thought it was just a scrape. After all, how could there be fish in the swimming pool? At that moment, the piranha, having tasted blood, swam back through the intake pipe. It was headed off to gather its companions for a feast. Sure enough, not long after, there was more movement in the pool. One of the guests noticed something was wrong. He immediately told Maddie. Maddie quickly went to her stepfather. She told him that piranhas had already entered the swimming pool. She urged him to evacuate all the guests immediately. To Maddie's surprise, Kyle rushed over to stop her. He told her not to speak out, fearing it might cause panic. Maddie felt deeply disappointed by her boyfriend's lack of trust, since no one was willing to help her. Maddie had no choice but to shout, warning everyone about the danger lurking beneath the water, but Kyle forcefully dragged her away from the scene. Meanwhile, the tourists were still leisurely sunbathing. Completely unaware that danger was approaching, it wasn't until a woman was bitten by a piranha that she realized something was terribly wrong. By then, however, it was already too late. As countless piranhas poured into the swimming pool, the scene quickly descended into chaos. In the blink of an eye, the entire pool was stained red with blood. At this moment, Chet stood frozen, staring at the chaos unfolding in the pool. He was stunned, completely at a loss. Meanwhile, Maddie called over her friend Barry, still determined to find a way to save the situation. They had to drain the pool first. Maddie instructed Barry to open the water valve. She then jumped into the pool to help the tourists. Barry quickly ran to open the water valve. The pool began to drain, the powerful suction pulling the piranhas into the pipes. However, Maddie, who hadn't made it to the shore in time, was tragically sucked in as well. At that moment, Kyle happened to be standing right on the shore. Maddie thought she was saved, but to her shock, Kyle didn't reach out to help her. It turned out that before the grand opening, Maddie's father had promised Kyle a share of the pool's profits. That was why Kyle had chosen not to stop the disaster from happening. Afraid of being held responsible, Kyle turned and walked away without a word. But due to holding her breath for too long, Maddie quickly lost consciousness. Thankfully, Barry didn't hesitate. He jumped into the water and pulled Maddie out of the pool. Meanwhile, in the pump room, one of the workers poured gasoline straight into the pipe system. With a smug grin, he casually tossed a lit cigarette inside. A massive explosion followed, and in the next moment, the sky started raining piranhas. However, just when everyone thought the nightmare was finally over, Maddie suddenly received a call from Carl. Carl warned her that the piranhas had successfully evolved. They had learned how to walk. At that very moment, a piranha slowly crawled up onto the shore. A young boy, still holding his phone, stepped forward to take pictures. Even as his mother tried to stop him, he showed no reaction. It seems that now, with the ability to walk, the piranhas are about to unleash an even more terrifying disaster. Stay tuned for the next chapter.